Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Who's Getting Sued this week. I am your host, Natalie Pierre-Lewis. I am a business and trademark attorney, and I love to teach you guys business and legal concepts using pop culture and celebrity news. If you're wondering what a business and trademark attorney does, I help you get your business paperwork together. So making sure you get your articles of incorporation, your contracts, your trademarks, your DUNS numbers, your EIN numbers, your hiring and training processes, all of that. Okay, and I do provide free 15-minute consultations. So if you are in need of those services, hit up my page and you'll see the link. Okay, but let's get to why we're here tonight. Tonight we are here to talk about business and celebrity news and learn those business concepts that we need to know. So without further ado, we're going to start on a story that I have been seeing everywhere this week. Okay. If you have ever eaten at Cracker Barrel, please give me, hey, the mason jar. If you have ever eaten at Cracker Barrel, please give me a CB in the comments. If you have ever eaten at Cracker Barrel, give me a CB in the comments. If you are okay, or if you are over here on TikTok, give me some hearts if you've ever eaten at Cracker Barrel. Okay. Now, if you've been paying any attention, you probably know that there has been all of this discussion about the Cracker Barrel logo. The original Cracker Barrel logo, it says Cracker Barrel. You love Cracker Barrel, Mason Jar? Okay. It says it's Cracker Barrel with an old man sitting next to a barrel, and then under it says Old Country Store, right? And that has been the logo forever, for as long as I have known. But recently they tried to revamp their logo. Does anybody remember that brief moment when Cracker Barrel was trying to revamp their logo? I want to make sure that I don't forget, that I don't leave anybody out here. Oh, I always forget to change this banner under here. Does anybody remember the brief change in logos? Anyway, if you didn't catch it, essentially Cracker Barrel, they eliminated the old man sitting next to the barrel. They eliminated the Old Country Store under it. So it was just a yellow object, a yellow shape that said Cracker Barrel, right? And everybody was in a frenzy. Okay. By the way, if you don't know, the old man that's in the Cracker Barrel original logo, you saw it. He's called Uncle Herschel. All right. So they tried to remove Uncle Herschel, and people went crazy. And actually, they had spent about $700 million trying to modernize their business. They're like, we're a little too old-fashioned. Maybe we need to catch up with the times. Let's revamp the logo. And they spent $700 million on this new revamp, this new logo. All right. The problem is there was a lot of emotional connection, Uncle Herschel. There was a lot of a lot of emotional connection with the original Cracker Barrel logo. Anybody, does that resonate with anybody? People were like, why did you take Uncle Herschel off the logo? That was part of what we liked about it. People say that, there are problems with, racism over at the Cracker Barrel, and that's part of what makes it taste better. But there was so much backlash. People complained so much on social media. Toupe Fiasco up in the White House even said something about it. And Cracker Barrel lost nearly $100 million in market value. Okay. It got so bad that they were like, forget it. We are not changing the logo. We're going back. Uncle Herschel, he's still on here. Okay. And this is why this is the importance the new logo. Mason Jar said, yeah, I understand the racial stance on it, but the new logo looked dumb. Did anybody like the new Cracker Barrel logo? Anyway, but this just goes to show the importance of brand identity and your brand. People can get so attached to it when you build it, and you know, and they come to rely on that, right? So that's why brands that have grown all of that equity, where people have this emotional connection to their brand. That's why they fight so hard, we know, when other people use their brands. Mason Jar said, bring back Uncle Herschel and Aunt Jemima. That is a good example. How many of you guys are out here looking for the Pearl Milling Company pancake mix, right? We all grew, regardless of the history. Yes, it was racist. It was Aunt Jemima's pancake, whatever. But everybody recognized that brand, right? Everybody recognized that character on the box, right? So now, the other day, I was actually in the grocery store and I saw Pearl Milling pancake mix. I was like, Pearl Milling, and I was like, oh, that's what they call Aunt Jemima now, right? I had grown so accustomed to the Aunt Jemima brand that, you know, them switching over to the Pearl Milling Company, while I commend the effort to do the right thing, there's still that brand identity, right? So the people at Cracker Barrel, they have gone back to their original logo because that is what people came to know and love. So you guys out there who are building your brands, right? It's important that you build your brand identity the way that you like it. You build your brand identity in a way that the culture, the people, the society, they kind of come to rely on it. It's their cushion. And you do that by providing good service. You do that by being top quality in your field. Now, listen, I'm not saying that Cracker Barrel is fine dining, but you know, they have their niche and people like them in their niche. Mason Jar said, yeah, leave the brands alone and focus on more important issues. I'm not saying that part, Mason Jar, because that is racist. No. Leave the team name the way it is. I ain't from here, so I ain't got no dog in this fight. But Mason Jar was over here talking about bring back the old name for the Washington, D.C. football team. Hey, Tammy Tinge, official. But so speaking of football, let me get this picture off. How many of y'all are following? You don't watch football anyway? Okay. How many of y'all are following this story of Bill Belichick's new girlfriends? Now, if you don't know, I am from Boston and I root for the Patriots, ride or die. I don't care what y'all say about Deflategate, whatever. We won 6 rings. Cry to your mammy about it. But anyway, Bill Belichick, he is the coach of the Patriots, right? Bill Belichick is in his 70s. Bill Belichick also has a 24-year-old girlfriend. Y'all. Whoo, these old men never gonna learn. Did we not just learn from Shannon Sharp? Anyway, let me get to this. Where is it? Here we go. Okay, yes. So Bill Belichick has a 24-year-old girlfriend. Her name is Jordan Hudson, right? She is a former cheerleader, and she manages the TCE Rights Management Company, which is a company owned by her boyfriend. Listen, homegirl said I'm getting all the perks. But if we look at this situation, what is the word that comes to mind when you think about this 24-year-old ex cheerleader dating this 73-year-old multi-millionaire football coach? What is the word that comes to mind when you think of this situation? What do they usually call the younger woman who's dating a much older man who has money? What's the name? What's the name? What's the name? Mm, Hey. What do we call them young girls? They be dating them old men. Listen, and I'm not judging. Get your money, queens. Get your money, okay? But what do we tend to call younger women going after much older men who have money? We call them gold diggers, right? Well, Jordan Hudson said, call me a gold digger if you want to. I'm still getting to the bag, because she has filed a trademark for the phrase gold digger. Okay. It is for jewelry and keychains. And she is trying to make it into a brand. This is not the first trademark she has filed while she's been with Mr. Belichick. She has filed a trademark for Chapel Bill, all Belichick team in the Belichick way. Now, keep in mind, she's not his wife. She's his girlfriend and employee. Whew. But what she's doing is very smart, because she's taking something that could be considered an insult or a negative, and she is making it a money making opportunity. Okay. So what she's probably knows, this situation with Bill Belichick, it might not last. So she's like, let me get what I can out of this. Let me file these trademarks. Let me get these businesses together so that I can leave here with my own bag. Right. And, I commend you, young lady. But yes, so this is another case of someone turning a negative into a positive, like when Angel Reese, she trademarked me bounds because people were, I don't know, they were heckling her about the rebounds that she made. I don't get it. I don't basketball, so whatever. But this is a lot of people I see, especially people who are active on social media. When people sling negative things towards them, if they're smart, they turn it into a money-making opportunity. Okay. So just keep that in mind. And salute to the Queen Jordan Hudson for getting to the money while she's with Bill Belichick. Okay. Now, yes, I'm sure he exercises and stuff, but I do not think that man is long for this earth. So, he's having a good time. He's here for a good time, not a long time. All right. So let's get that off of the stage. If you just came in, you are watching Who's Getting Sued this week. I'm your host, Natalie Pierre-Lewis. This is where we learn business and legal topics using pop culture and celebrity news. Okay. Next story that we are talking about. Do we have any World of Warcraft fans in here? Do we have any World of Warcraft fans in his house? If we do, just give me a wow in the comments. Or y'all just won't tap. Y'all just won't tap. Y'all won't give us just a tap, a tap. But yeah, so we are. If you have heard of World of Warcraft, just give me a wow in the comments. Okay. World of Warcraft. It's like a board game. Excuse me. It's a board game. They also have video games on it. And they do real life stuff. But World of Warcraft has a very strong following, right? So much that people enjoy the World of Warcraft, I guess, universe so much that fans created something called Turtle Wow, Turtle World of Warcraft. It's a fan run, privately hosted World of Warcraft server network, and they have 44,000 players. So this server, this Turtle Wow, it's not from the World of Warcraft company, which is called Activision Blizzard. It was created by fans. They're just like, it's like when you create, a group on Facebook or something, for something that you like. That's what it started as, right? The problem is that this fan-run server was using copyrighted material from the actual game, meaning visuals, meaning characters, right? It didn't really matter in the beginning because it was small, but the server has gained a lot of attention, and they have had collaborations with influencers, and it's starting to make money, right? So because the images that World of Warcraft uses, those are copyrighted, meaning they created them for their universe. They get to say who used them. They are putting the kibosh on Turtle Wow. They are claiming intellectual property theft. They're trying to get them for the RICO. They're like, look, y'all are using our images. You are profiting off of our intellectual property with this server, right? Again, I don't know if it's all that, but in this day and age with social media, sometimes sometimes what starts off as something small can blow up into something big. So this fan fiction, this fan run space, I don't think the intention was to try and make money off of it. It was just like, we really like World of Warcraft. We want to do some extra stuff outside of the game. Let's do something fun. But now what's the name? Activision Blizzard, they're looking at the WoW server and they're like, oh, y'all living large up in here. Y'all having collaborations with influencers. That's money. So they are quickly saying, hold up, you're making money off of our intellectual property because you didn't design none of this, okay? And that's the power of copyrights. Now, again, I don't know if they're going to be able to get them for the RICO, but they may be able to get this website shut down, if it can prove too much profiting off of their or willful profiting off of their intellectual property, right? So for those of you who are out here, if you are fans of something and you want to create, kind of a tribute, I don't know, website, page, group, whatever for it, you still need to be careful of intellectual property in terms of, when it comes to monies, because if you're running ads on that site, that could get you in trouble. If you are charging for access to that site and you're using their copyrighted material, that could get you in trouble. So if you're going to run some type of fan or tribute site, you want to be very, very aware of copyright infringement, okay? And if fan tributing, just charge no money, okay? All right. So let me take that down. We are getting through these pretty quickly, which is awesome because we're going to start a new segment tonight that I'm really excited about. Okay. Ooh. How many of y'all have an Amazon store? If you haven't, I don't have a picture for this, so y'all just gonna have to look at my face. If you have an Amazon store, hey, 76 Grimke, if you have an Amazon store, please give me, thank you for the hearts, thank you so much. If you have an Amazon store, give me a Z in the comments, okay? Now, if you didn't know, but I've told you guys this tons of times, the number of applications that the USPTO is receiving, thank you for the hearts, Conjure, has quintupled. It is just, they have so many applications for trademarks. It's crazy. They cannot keep up. They've changed the rules to tighten up because it has become so much, right? And one of the things that has contributed to this increase of trademark applications is the Amazon brand registry. So that is why I asked you guys if you have an Amazon store. In order to have a store on Amazon's platform, you have to have a trademark. It doesn't necessarily have to be, published, but it at least has to be pending, right? So that is why you have a lot of brands rushing to the USPTO trying to get their trademarks in so they can get on Amazon. But this is also leading to other brands filing essentially filing sham trademark filings for up and coming brands in the hopes that they can get a payday because that person is going to want the trademark. But this is all a lot of this surge in trademark applications is being propelled by Amazon, and it's kind of allowing Amazon to function as kind of a shadow trademark system, because it's like somebody can hold you up on Amazon because they have your trademark application over there with the USPTO. Okay, now people have the issue why this is a problem is that it pushes the smaller businesses who used to be able to say, no, I don't have a trademark, but I've been running my store for 10 years, they can't do that anymore, right? They have to, thank you so much, they have to thank you. Let me pin you. Let me see. Last time I tried to pin you, they tried to how do I celebrate? Add sticker. Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, basically smaller businesses that used to be able to say, hey, I've been running my business for 5-10 years on Amazon. What's the problem now? Like, somebody can go and see that you're doing well and then go file that trademark, and then your business gets holed up on Amazon. So it is allowing a lot of shenanigans to happen within the trademark system. Okay. So again, this is causing a surge in applications with the USPTO, which is where it is already a mess because the head Cheeto in office, he's just stomping all over the place. So it's made Amazon's need for those trademarks, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't have it, because yes, you want to make sure people aren't selling counterfeit goods, but it is also holding up and clogging up the USPTO system. And this is just, oh crap, my light just went out. Hold on, guys. And this is just another way that Amazon is trying to take over the world. Hold on, guys. I got to get my power cord so I can plug in the lamp so my feed doesn't go out. Whew. Hold on. Stay with you, girl. I'm old. And my legs don't work like they used to. Give a sister a chance. Anyway, but as I was saying, it is very important in these days and times that you secure your brands early, because people are out here specifically looking to steal from you. It's not even like undercover. People are making a career of squatting on trademarks and trying to sell it to people who they know will want it. All right, hold on. Come on, yo. Hold on. I got to turn this light on. There we go. Okay. Thank you for all the hearts, Conjure. You're so great. Oh my gosh. Thank you, girl. All right. So next story that we are covering, and then I think I'm going to introduce my new segment, and then we'll get to the rest of our stories for the evening. How many of y'all ever had a Motorola? Whenever I hear Motorola, I always think of that line from 3LW when Keely was rapping and she goes, Motorola, two-way paging, right? Anyway, we know Motorola, they are a brand. You had a Motorola. They're an electronics brand. They make phones, they make telecommunications equipment, right? Freaking kidding. What is going on? Hold on. Somebody over here on the charging committee is trying to get on my nerves. Hello? Well, you guys can still see me, right? Okay. Yes, Motorola. Okay. So Motorola sued this company in, what was it, Japan or China? Yes, Motorola sued this company in China that is partially owned by the Chinese government. Because essentially what this company did was they hired a bunch of engineers who used to work for Motorola, and then used them to create their own products, right? So Motorola sued them in 2017 for trade secret theft and intellectual property theft, right? It was obvious that they had specifically hired these engineers so they could steal Motorola's secrets. So the court awarded Motorola $543 million in 2021, right? Now, even after this award, it's not like the Chinese company, which was named Hytera, yes, they got the judgment. They were like, well, we still got this information. So they put out these products based on Motorola's designs. So then the court said, well, since you're going to put out these products, you're also going to owe Motorola royalties, right? So not only were there damages of $543 million, they also had to pay royalties for this new technology that they put out based on Motorola's intellectual property. Okay. No, they did not pay the royalties. Okay. So now, because they have refused to pay the royalties and the award, the court has ordered them to pay $59 million plus $11 million in interest, meaning they have added $70 million to the total that this Chinese company, Hytera, owes to Motorola for the intellectual property theft. You're shocked to hear they're still around. But this is why it's intellectual property is not a game. And when you are charged, if the court tells you you need to pay these damages and royalties, they are not kidding with you, okay? And if you try to ignore the court, they're going to punish you financially. So this company owes Motorola, I remember this, almost a little over $600 million because of theft of intellectual property. So while the knockoffs that you might sell in your Etsy store might not rise to the level of this, understand that it's the same concept. You're taking someone else's idea, someone else's intellectual property, and using it to make money. So you don't want to get caught in that, all right? Because now this company owes a whole lot of money. I don't know where they're going to get it. But yes. Okay. So now I am going to introduce my new segment. Y'all, I'm so hot. Whew. My new segment, this was a request from the owner of the news outlet that I broadcast to, Be More News. The head of Be More News asked me to do this. And this is a segment that is really going to interest my audience who has any, indigenous blood, First Nation blood. This is going to, I think this is really going to interest you. So if you know anybody who fits in that category, send them on in. This segment is going to be called I Got Indian in My Family. And if you have ever heard that phrase as a person of color, particularly a person of African descent growing up, if you've ever heard somebody say, I got Indian in my family, give me a 1 in the comments. Okay. If you have ever heard somebody say, I got Indian in my family, as a person of African descent, give me a 1 in the, okay, 76 Grimke gave me a 1. Thank you. Thank you, Conjure. Okay. Now, so this segment, we're going to talk about the Dawes Commission. This was a system that essentially, what are people doing? They know I have my show. They know I have a show on Tuesday, and they want to call me during the show. So, the Dawes Commission was essentially something that it was a legal group that used the law to disenfranchise a great number of Native American tribes in the United States. Okay. Mainly, hold on. Yes. Mainly, and it was a system that essentially destroyed the communal land system of the Native Americans and placed it with the European style of individual land ownership. Okay, so I'm sure in school we learned about how the Europeans came and took the Native Americans' land, and it wasn't always through violence. Sometimes they did it using quote unquote the law. Okay. Now the Dawes Commission, it specifically negotiated a peace between what they called the 5 civilized tribes: the Cherokee, the Chickasaw, the Choctaw, the Creek, and the Seminole. Okay. And what the Dawes Commission did was, instead of, the Native Americans did not have a concept of people owning individual plots of land, right? They were like, okay, it's the earth. We don't have any claim to it. Native Americans are nomadic, so they didn't have this idea of owning individual plots of land. But because they're having such an issue with the Europeans, they're like, look, we gotta figure something out. And the Europeans are like, well, let's try and do this individual allotment. I don't think the Native Americans necessarily understood what that meant, because they did not understand the idea of individual ownership of a land. The Dawes Commission said, you no longer own this space as a community. We're going to give you little pieces of land based on whether you are actually Native American or not. And you're going to have to prove whether you're Native American. So then each person within the tribe would get, a little piece of land, as opposed to the whole tribe owning, the whole thing together. So now let's think of this. Let's think of this, right? We're a community. We're used to doing everything communal. The land, we all use the land. We all grow on the land, right? Then we have to go through this thing where we have these individual plots of land. How does that how does that change our society? Because we're used to sharing everything, and now everything is individual, right? the Native Americans, because they didn't have the concept of individual land ownership. Essentially, this was a contract that they agreed to that they didn't understand. This is why it's important for you to understand all of the contracts you sign, because you don't want to get disenfranchised, right? There was a movie that I watched, or no, not a movie. There's a series called Startup, and there is a scene where this young woman, she is so blinded by this amount of money that a company is offering to buy her tech startup, that she signs the contract and she doesn't read it, and she doesn't realize that she signed over ownership of her entire company and they pushed her out, right? And much like the Native Americans, they didn't understand this idea of individual land ownership. They just signed it because they're like, I mean, I guess whatever, let's just stop fighting and figure this out. And now they've lost their land. And this Dawes Commission, it is, you got land based on your Native American ancestry, and then any land that was left over was sold off, to the European settlers. Okay, so that is the broad strokes of the Dawes Commission that I want to talk about today. What we're going to talk about in the next couple of weeks is how the Dawes Commission and this classification as Native American was used to disenfranchise African American people who had Native American ancestry because of how they were categorized. And we're going to tie that into intellectual property. I'm not going to do it all tonight because it's a lot of information. But for tonight, what I want you to recognize is that not understanding a contract can cost you a lot. The Native Americans had no concept of individual land ownership. So when they agreed to the Dawes Commission, they did not understand that they were giving up access to the entire to the land that they had, grown up on. So understand what you're signing, and if you don't, find someone who can explain it to you. Okay. So that was the beginning of my I got Indian in my family segment. Next week we are going to go into how freed slaves came into these tribes, and how their classification, depending on where they were, was used to either get them land or disenfranchise them. And then after that, we're going to talk about how some people of African and Native descent, now they are currently suing the federal government and some tribal governments for their place in the tribe so that they can get their allotments. All right. So if any of that interests you, please stay tuned for that. And again, you need to understand your contracts when you're signing them, because if you sign something you don't understand, you never know what you're giving up. Okay. All right. So if you are just coming in, you're watching Who's Getting Sued. I am Natalie Pure Lewis, the host of your show and a business and trademark attorney. If you are in need of some legal guidance to help you get that business in shape, I am your girl. Thank you, 76 Grim K. You are always here to support, girl. It's me and you. Okay. All right. So our next story that we are talking about for the night, we've covered a lot. We talked about Motorola. We talked about, I have an update on the Anthropic AI story. So last week I told you, or a couple of weeks ago, I told you guys that the AI company Anthropic, they were being sued. It was a class action lawsuit that was being brought by a bunch of authors because Anthropic AI, they were using copyrighted material to train their AI assistant Claude, right? Here's the thing. Court said they can use copyrighted material to train the machine as long as they obtained it legally, right? So if you bought all of these books and then you uploaded them into your AI, you're fine. What they found out was that Anthropic was pirating the books that they were teaching the AI. So not only are you using these copyrighted materials to teach your AI machine, you're stealing the material that you're teaching the AI machine. So they were going to go to trial, and it could have potentially cost Anthropic trillions with a T, trillions of dollars in damages if they were found to be at fault. So they settled this class action lawsuit. Now we don't have the numbers. We don't have the numbers of how much was paid out, but I am sure it is a fraction of what they could have been forced to pay. But in the meantime, there is this ongoing battle between AI companies and uh, creatives. You have AI companies who are basically saying, look, if we have to get permission from all the copyright holders to teach our AI, then, our companies won't succeed. If you can't succeed without stealing, maybe you shouldn't be here. But that's my 2 cents anyway. But yes, so Anthropic, they settled with the class action lawsuit to avoid a potentially large damage judgment against them. But I'm interested to see what their processes are going to, how their processes are going to change going forward. Yes. Okay. Oh. Yes, we talked about World of Warcraft. Did we talk about everything already? Sheesh. Wow. Oh my gosh. Guys, I think we covered everything that I wanted to. Oh no. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, okay. Do any of y'all like Robin Thicke? Any of y'all like Robin Thicke? Lost without you, can't help myself. How does it feel to know that I love you, baby? Lost without. Okay, I won't assault your ears anymore. Plus, I'm not that big a fan of Robin Thicke, especially after he made that album harassing that lady. Yes. He made that album harassing that lady after she said, "Leave me alone." But there is Robin Thicke is in the news again, and this is actually not something that I think is his fault. This is something that I have been reporting on for the last 5 years. It's happened to a lot of celebrities. So if you didn't know, those stories that you see, or not stories, those photos that you see on entertainment websites and magazines and things like that, all of those images are copyrighted, meaning they belong to someone, right? They were taken by a photographer. That's why you always have the paparazzi. They're always getting yelled at, and the celebrities are complaining about the paparazzi, because that's how they make their money. They take these pictures and they sell them to different outlets, and they get them copyrighted, right? And they have the copyrights because they took the picture. What a lot of paparazzi have started doing to make money is, if a celebrity sees a picture of themselves that someone took and they post it on their social media, that photographer will sue that celebrity for copyright infringement. They have done it to so many people. They've done it to J-Lo. They've done it to Nicki Minaj. They've done it to, I want to say, Kim Kardashian. And Robin Thicke is just another person in this long line of celebrities getting sued for posting pictures of themselves on their own social media. Okay, now a lot of these celebrities settle with these photographers, for anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000, because it's easier than having to go through all of the legal rigmarole of hiring attorneys and all of those billable hours. So sometimes they'll just pay these photographers off, and it's become a quick money grab. Some celebrities have tried to fight back and claim partial copyright ownership because they're like, it's a picture of me. If I wasn't there, this photographer wouldn't have any material, right? But so far that hasn't necessarily worked. So as of right now, it is a very dangerous game for a celebrity who has a little bit of change in their pockets to post a picture of themselves from, from a publication, because there are unscrupulous, or I don't know if we can call it unscrupulous. A lot of celebrities make money with their social media. They are paid to post, right? So let's say a celebrity posts using a picture that a paparazzi took, and it's a post that they were paid $100,000 for to promote a product. I could see why the photographer would want a piece of that. But if I just posted the picture because I think I'm cute today, that's a different story. But what the photographers are saying is that celebrities, social media in general, is a money generating tool. So if they are posting photos on there, it is automatically a money generating activity. So that is what they are suing, their basis for suing the celebrity. So Robin Thicke is just one of the celebrities caught up in that game, and he has settled. And I don't blame him for settling, because I'll just be like, I mean, really? He got his daddy's money. What is it, Alan Thicke? And he got his money being Thicke. Yeah, he's just let him do his thing. I heard he was at Essence Fest performing. So get your money, man. But yeah, it's just copyright law has not caught up with technology. And I don't think it's going to catch up for a while. So I think we're going to see a lot of these cases coming up for even more, especially with AI. My head is spinning thinking about the AI things that are coming up in the next few years. Okay. All right. So let's see here. That was, we did Robin Thicke, Backgrid. Oh my gosh, y'all, we reached the end. That's the end. Okay, those were all of the stories that I wanted to cover with you tonight. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. We can do a Q&A right now if you guys would like. If you have any business questions, if you have any intellectual property questions that you would like to ask, trademarks, copyrights, how to start a business, what do I need in a contract, how do I get an EIN number, what do I need to hire people, all of those, any type of questions like that, we can do we can stay on till 8 o'clock and do that if you would like. If you want to do that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys are cool and you want to call it a night, we can do that too. So thumbs up. You want to keep going. Star. Y'all want to go. Y'all are cool. Okay. You're not gonna hurt my feelings either way, because your girl is thirsty. Let me know how to get a copy of your EIN number. Okay, so when you publish your novel, congratulations! All right, let me go to Star Stuff. Star Stuff. Do you already have your EIN number, or do you need to get your EIN number? Are you looking for what you call it? A copy of the PDF, or you need a whole new EIN number? What kind of novel is it, Conjure? I'm glad you were able to attend 276 Grimke. I'm going to stay on till 8 to answer questions. Starstuff said, I applied the other day and got it. However, it never gave me access to the copy. The site was messed up. Did you choose the immediate PDF, or did you choose for them to mail it to you? And there is a there is a number that you can call. There's a number that you can call, or like an email. You're gonna have to contact them, because you're not just gonna be, because it's like a social security number. You're not gonna be able to just look it up on the website. But if you go to, actually, hold on a second. Let me look this up for you real quick. StreamYard, I'm gonna let y'all go because I'm gonna do Instagram and a TikTok right now. But I will be splitting up the stories, okay? Because I ain't hear nothing from StreamYard. Okay. And stream.